Morning, good morning, good morning. How are you? I trust you would have gotten your invitation. It's I hope it's a signal of how we do things in Ancillary Canneries, the appropriate way. So we thought it's only fitting that we officially invite you to our activity on the 23rd of February. I expect you to come not only with your cameras, but also with your wallet. Because I expect you to spend as much of your hard-earned income as possible.
I thought we were getting free levy. Yeah, I just thought that they were getting free levy, free board, and lobster. But sorry.
You should direct your request to the press secretary.
Invites, right?
Direct those requests to the press secretary, and then we'll see if we could.
When you get fancy invites like that, you expect to see.
Fancy because we appreciate it, and we have a point to prove. We are very serious about our business in Ancillary Canneries, and despite all the sort of references to us, I think again we're demonstrating that we are very serious about our agenda going forward. So on Friday the 23rd, we'll be relaunching the fish fry. As you know, it has been on a bit of a break for some time. There were some challenges with the way it was operated previously. And we wanted to make the point that this time around we do it correctly. So we spend time training the vendors in various aspects. We also got them to appreciate that for this activity to survive, we need to be mindful as to how we treat our customers, whether it is foreigners or locals, and the pricing. We also want to add a bit of culture to that. As you know, Grocery also happens on a Friday night. So we need to find ways to differentiate ourselves. So we are also in the process of renovating a building which will be used as a theater. So when you come to Ancillary on a Friday, you could take in a bit of a show and then wander off to get your food afterwards in the village of Ancillary. So it's really a holistic approach in terms of what we're trying to achieve. At this point, I really want to thank the Community Tourism Agency. They've been very, very supportive. As a matter of fact, all of this lovely invitation, all of that wonderful stuff you have came out of Community Tourism Agency. Again, it is again the significance of the activity and what it means to us in the community. So I look forward to seeing all of you with your cameras and your wallets on Friday the 23rd. Thank you very, very, very much. Any questions?
You said about the community getting involved. So would there be some cultural display?
Yes, correct. We have culture, we have art, we have entertainment, we have the tastiest fish you will get on the island. Actually, I know somebody else will come very shortly and say their fish is better than mine, but I think we will demonstrate that our cuisine is better on the coast than in the north.
Well, you spoke about the fact that Grocery also has it on Friday night.
Yes.
I'm not too sure if there will be any plans to, I don't know, maybe change the day. Is that?
Probably not necessarily change the day, but what we think we should do is to differentiate ourselves. So as I was making the point, what we want to do is, at the moment, you go to Grocery on a Friday, just a street jam, you lime. What we're saying is, because we have so much talent in Ancillary Canneries, in particular Ancillary, we will be putting on theatrical displays. So you could come catch a show, whether it is $5 US, $10 US, the price is still not confirmed as yet. You will take in a show, and then after you've taken the show, you then wander off into the village to have a meal. So hopefully that will differentiate us from Grocery. There's nothing wrong with going to Grocery after you spend your money in Ancillary Canneries. But I'd appreciate if you come down to Ancillary first, take in a show, enjoy our cuisine, our culture, and then wander off to Grocery as you make your way home. But make sure you spend most of your money in Ancillary before you leave.
And in terms of the sea travel, there's upgrades to the jetty and stuff.
So the jetty, correct. So as you know, we've just completed work on the jetty. We're just waiting for some final bits to allow for the bigger vessels to moor on the jetty. But insofar as whether or not to come on a small vessel, we will arrange to get you onto shore. So yes, we expect you to come by land, by sea. Yes.
Thank you.
Yes? So thank you very much again for your patience and your time. And remember, come with your wallet and your camera, not just your cameras, please. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Okay, so actually, from HTS.
Yes.
As the Minister of Finance, how is the budget is going, and what are some of the things that you are seeing?
Yes, so a good question. So we are in the process of finalizing the budget. You would have recognized when we got into government, as of December 2021, the debt to GDP ratio was in excess of 100%. So we've spent the last few years making sure that we bring it down to prudential limits. Now we've given a commitment, us in the OECS, ECCU, that will be 60% by 2035. We're just above 75% at the moment, and we are trending downwards. This year, there will be no new taxes. We intend to put a lot more money into the social aspects of things, because we recognize that there are some challenges coming out of COVID and how things were done. So we are increasing that amount of money available to the social infrastructure. We are placing further emphasis on youth, sports, education, and indeed health. We think it will be a very interesting budget. There are things in my constituency that I can't wait to announce. And I think the Prime Minister, the Minister of Finance, has done very well in getting us to this point where we are at the moment. And in a few weeks' time, when we unveil the budget, we'll realize, based on the metrics, that we have done very well considering where we started off in 2021.
There have been concerns that you did mention that there are no new taxes, let's say, but yet the 2-point thing has been improved. People are concerned and saying that it is a form of tax.
Well, you see, and I think when we're having this conversation, we need to be very, very clear. If we want to see better outcomes in health, the metric is you spend 6% of your GDP on health. At the moment, we are spending just below 4%, and we're trying to progress to 6%. The truth of the matter is, if we want better outcomes in healthcare, we need to be able to raise more revenue. The health and security levy was a way of us doing it to not allow everybody, because there's some people who certainly can't afford to pay for their medical services. We live in a society where we should share the responsibility. The 2.5 levy is simply an attempt to bring forward more funding for the health sector and, of course, security. Because we are, at the moment, not spending what we're supposed to be spending on health. As I was saying before, the guideline is 6% of GDP. We're not anywhere near that at the moment.
And in that regard, so the United People's Party has concerned saying that the levy is actually a loan, to government loan. What do you say to this?
I'm not too sure if the United Workers' Party is saying that it's a loan, perhaps they should return to the textbook, because I'm not too sure.
No, they didn't say it's a loan. One of the requirements for the policy-based loan that you would have acquired from the World Bank, as I said, that this was one of the requirements of the World Bank for you to get that loan. The implementation of this levy to raise more revenue.
Well, actually, the policy-based loan was a discussion that took place before we got into government. And at that time, the World Bank would not have known, although the previous government did make an attempt to have a health and security levy, but the World Bank at that time would not have known our intent to have a health and security levy. So that was not part of the policy-based loan. So I'm not quite sure.
The Prime Minister did mention in his opening statement last week that there were requirements of the World Bank, and then he spoke of them, and he spoke of the health and security levy as one of them, including increasing excise tax on tobacco and some other things that were needed. So he did mention it.
Yeah, so, but he would have mentioned it, and I saw his statement, he would have mentioned it in the sense of the challenges we face as a government in terms of dealing with those institutions. They usually prescribe certain measures for you to adopt. Some of them we have a choice, some of them we don't have a choice. They did ask us to do even further to bring that, in our minds, would bring hardship to those who are already having the most difficult time. So the reason why he would have suggested, or he would have been happy to go with the 2.5 levy, because it allows us to not have a blanket, because the 2.5 levy does not apply to matters or products or groceries. It will not apply to that. But if we went with a straight increase of the VAT, then everyone would be paying. So we thought, rather than have everyone paying and giving those who are already in a difficult situation even more difficulty, we thought the levy would be more strategic insofar as how we deal with the revenue.
You said that you decided to go with
Yes.
this instead of
Yep.
just increasing
VAT, yep,
VAT.
yep.
So it was part of the requirements to obtain that loan then.
The increase in revenue was part of the requirements of the World Bank.
So you were allowed to choose how you were going to increase your revenue.
No, the Prime Minister was very firm insofar as how he would approach it. They would suggest to you do A, B, C, D, E. It is left to the Prime Minister to decide, well, this is how I think I should approach it on behalf of the citizens who put me in government. So yes, the question of revenue was raised, but that is one of the options we decided to go for, as opposed to the general increase in the VAT.
Wouldn't you say, as someone in finance, that increasing increasing basically the cost of goods, especially because the levy is on the importation of goods and services as well. This would ultimately increase the price of groceries because of the entities that do sell it. What they're importing other things, they have to do other things. So obviously they pass on the cost to their customers. So we did see issues, we did see increase in prices, we did see it. I mean, Commerce did get the complaints, they did investigate. So ultimately there was an increase.
But I'm not too sure if the increase was necessarily as a result of the levy. You must appreciate business people will obviously try to maximize profit. I'm not too sure if the increases in the cost of living was necessary because of the levy. You would have appreciated that there was an issue with inflation. There was an issue insofar as the supply chain. So there were other factors which would have accounted for the increase in the cost of living. But the very same people that we were trying to protect, remember, they are not in that bracket insofar as, because the items that they most readily get access to, no health and security levy and no VAT, because they're exempt items. So the concern that you have about those particular individuals, they were not the ones who were going to suffer from this particular point. But I agree with you, it's a shared sacrifice. I have to pay more when I go to the supermarket, but it's not necessarily because it is the health and security levy.
Yeah, but we have companies like KFC who sent out a note telling people that your delivery cost has increased again because of the health and security levy. So all of these things, in essentially it does, because if, for example, Digicel increases the cost, right, the cost of your bill, you as a company, let's say Massey, and you're getting services from Digicel, if Digicel increases, you're going to pass on the cost always. So,
but is it always clear? Is it always clear that the reason why they're raising their prices is because of that's the point. So there's no way for us to pinpoint and say definitely this is as a result of the health and security levy. A businessman will profit any opportunity he gets to have better profits. The question is, what are we saying about that to them as a society? I was just in St. Kitts recently, and there's a smaller population in St. Kitts. But when I went to the supermarket specifically to have a look, we were realizing that some of the prices are as much as half the cost in St. Lucia. So a serious conversation needs to be had, and I know the Minister of Commerce is in the process of having that conversation. Insofar as what are we paying for our prices on the shelf? Because St. Kitts has a smaller population. Mind you, they're closer to North America than we are, but as much as half the price of what we paid in St. Lucia compared to what they paid in St. Kitts. So something is inherently wrong. And I think we need to take a very serious look as to how we're going to address that going forward, because I think it's a preoccupation. Whenever we go to cabinet, the first words out of the Prime Minister is people. Well, we pray, and then he says people, and then the last words out of his mouth before he dismisses us is to remind us that we're here to serve people. So it is something that we take very seriously, and we try whatever we can to address it. Yes. Yes. Thank you very much for your time this morning. Remember, wallets and cameras.
Thank you very much. Today I just want to deal with one issue, two issues. One, we can focus on some of the data on tourism arrivals for last year. So you will notice the increase in arrivals. I'm not one who believe that you really measure tourism by the numbers alone, but I think some people have sought to make the numbers a critical issue. From the data that you would have before you would notice for 2023, we registered an increase of 7% over 2022. And of course, we don't have 2021 figures there, but 2021 was the start of the recovery in the post-COVID era. We're still not yet at 2019 figures, which were the highest stayover arrivals on record. 2019 was a record year for global tourism, as well as regional and national tourism. And across, all regions, we witness, like I said, not just in St. Lucia, but every Caribbean country, just about every country in the world, witnessed significant increases in 2019. You will notice that during the summer, we actually had a soft period, and a lot of that had to do not with demand, but availability of flights and seats to St. Lucia, which is why we worked extra hard to ensure that this summer we got some more seats available to St. Lucia. And therefore, our numbers were affected during the summer. We were down almost about 11,000 arrivals during the summer. You will notice by region, the Caribbean still a challenge for us, and we're certainly hoping to see even better numbers moving forward. I haven't given you all the pages. I just wanted to give you the stayover arrivals by month to show you the changes that have actually taken place. But feel free to.
We've seen an increase in Europe, France, the DACH region, and in Canada and the Caribbean as well, right? Is that what I'm seeing there? The stayover arrivals by market.
No, but that's only for the month of December for regions. I'll have to give you another page to show you the regions for the entire year. But that one is just for December.
Okay. But I'm seeing that we took a hit. Our two biggest markets, the US and the UK market, in December. Was there any reason for that in particular?
You notice the UK and the US, I think the closure of St. James Club has affected us. And the increase, 2022 was a real strong year for us out of the US. And for 2023, we were even better than 2019, which was the previous best, if you notice, even better than 2019. And 2019 was the best year. Last year was really good for the US for us. And this year, and I think I've indicated in an earlier discussion, we'll have even more challenges with room stock, because a number of hotels will close down. Starfish, Mystic, will close. The St. James Club, which will become Secret St. Lucia, will not open until late in the season. So we'll have almost 1,000 rooms out of stock, which will be a significant blow for us. But we're hoping and certainly planning to do some aggressive marketing to drive more traffic to the home accommodation sector to take up some of the slack. But it is a challenge we'll have over the next 2 to 3 years until the new hotels actually come on stream. So Secrets will come on stream next year. The Casabah Beach Club will come on stream in the next season. Canals hopefully will come on stream next winter season. So we will face those challenges. But at least for last year, you would see a 7% increase over 2022. So we continue to improve. And the biggest market challenge for us right now is still the Caribbean market, which is significant. I can probably get the relevant page to show you region for the entire year, as against just December, which is what is stated there.
With the decrease in room stock, are we projecting a decrease then in silver arrivals for 2024?
We actually not. We're still expecting 2024 to have an increase. But we're hoping to drive a lot more traffic in home accommodation and even existing hotels to ensure that the occupancy levels remain very high throughout the year.
So since there is a slight issue with accommodations, is there any incentive for people who may want to move into Airbnb?
Yeah, I mean, the government, certainly for the Community Tourism Agency, we have both grants and loans available for St. Lucians who want to add rooms to their home and to be part of the home accommodation sector. Of course, you would have to sign in to the community tourism program for you to do so. The new legislation, which we will introduce tomorrow, which I'll speak of next, will actually offer more incentives to St. Lucians to get involved in the home accommodation sector.
You could just speak about the bill?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
So the other highlight for us for this week will be the presentation of the tourism development bill tomorrow. It will probably be one of the most far-reaching pieces of legislation introduced in St. Lucia for many years. The aim of the Tourism Development Act, which will be debated tomorrow, is for us to reimagine and to design, restructure the tourism industry. We want to build a tourism industry that is inclusive, resilient, and sustainable. It has to be inclusive because we want more and more St. Lucians to participate in the tourism sector. As it stands now, the legislative framework that provides incentives for people to enter the tourism industry is towards the accommodation sector only. And even in the accommodation sector, it is biased towards all-inclusives and large-scale investments. So it does not really cater for St. Lucians who want to add 2 or 3 rooms to their home and be part of the home accommodation sector. In fact, it's for hotels, and a hotel is defined as more than 6 rooms. It also focuses on the home accommodation sector. So the other sectors in the industry, those St. Lucians are most likely to be part of, it does not cater for them. The new legislation tomorrow will be one that is inclusive. It offers greater benefits for St. Lucians who want to enter into the tourism industry across all sectors. So it means now incentives are available across all sectors. And of course, it makes it easier for our locals, for them to be able to qualify for incentives to enter the tourism industry. So it will be a more inclusive piece of legislation, and the industry itself to be more inclusive. It's going to be more resilient because we are introducing incentives and policy measures that will build an industry that can adapt and that can rebound far quicker should there be any setback or challenge facing the industry. COVID taught us that we had to be more adaptive and that we had to be flexible and able to respond to whatever challenges it faces. And tomorrow we'll be providing for the bill specific measures that will aim to do so. And it's going to be more sustainable. Again, there will be incentives and provisions for participants in the tourism industry to build a tourism industry that is sustainable in terms of the environment, the use of green energy, the use of grey water management, and other, sustainable environmental practices, but also sustainable from the point of view of saying to developers that for you to get incentives, you have to be able to commit yourself to certain principles. So whereas in the past, when a developer or anybody who invests in the industry can apply for 100% incentives, waivers on taxes, duties, across the board, we do not start at 100%. It's really a base of 50, and you will gain additional incentives based on your commitment and demonstration of that commitment to certain principles. Paying your staff higher salaries, more training of staff, your commitment to sustainable environmental practices. So there'll be a number of principles that I will outline tomorrow that once somebody enters the industry commits themselves to that, they will then qualify to get more incentives. So we're going to incentivize commitment to those fundamental principles we believe are essential for building a more inclusive and more resilient tourism industry. So tomorrow, I really want to encourage everyone to listen to the debate, the presentation of the bill, and to listen to the debate, because we are going to change the entire legislative framework that oversees the tourism industry.
I want to ask you two questions. It's related to your portfolio as the Minister for Information. The first one is that we've seen a lot of legislation passed since the entry of this administration, even the previous one. The Freedom of Information Bill for the media, which helps us with our work. When can we see this bill finally come to Parliament?
I cannot tell you. Well, I mean, we're presenting the tourism bill tomorrow, so I'm sure we'll come around to present it. To be honest with you, we've not had any sustained discussion at a ministry level on the Freedom of Information Act. We have been discussing the Information Act, the Information Broadcasting Act generally, something we inherited from the last government. And we've had a review of it. We've spoken to a number of stakeholders who have commented on it, and it is still being reviewed. And I think we are going to, within that context, deal with the issue of the freedom of information. So it's on our radar, but I cannot give you a date to tell you it's in 3 months or 6 months. But we are. In fact, the last discussion I participated in as minister was for us to get a consultant who will do a final review of it so it can go to cabinet for approval.
Second question, what is the protocol in terms of communicating to the public whenever the Prime Minister is not on island?
I think that the protocol is the press secretary issues a public statement that the Prime Minister is not in country and who is holding on and when he's expected to return and where he's going. I'm not sure whether that has changed, but that normally is.
I'm asking because the Prime Minister has left the country twice in the past 2 weeks and there is no information coming to the media to inform the public about it. So I want to know if the protocol has changed.
No, not that I know of. And I can't comment so much on that. I'm sure you all know who to ask that question.
In your portfolio as Minister for Culture, I'm not too sure if you are directly associated with it, but I know that independence celebrations are moving to Soufrière this year.
Yes.
Any reason that you know of for the move, and if there is a reason, how are the plans coming along for the independence celebration?
But first of all, I think you should lend me that bow tie you have there so I can wait. Secondly, I think we wanted to decentralize the celebrations for independence. There is that constant refrain that everything is centered around Castries and the north, meaning Rosalie and Castries. And we felt it necessary for us to continue decentralizing, the celebration. So Soufrière was chosen this year. I'm not sure where it will be chosen next year. But all in an effort to spread as much as possible the celebrations. Of course, sometimes when you leave and go to some of the other communities, you have different challenges in terms of venue, in terms of movement of people, whatnot. But from all that I have heard, the arrangements are proceeding smoothly, and we expect to have a fantastic celebration in Soufrière. There'll be the flag raising Wednesday night in a number of communities, Vieux-Fort, Dennery, Soufrière, Castries. We have the military parade the morning in Soufrière, and the rally and cultural presentations later on in the day at Soufrière. The only, concern I've heard so far is the question of heat, because the artificial surfaces generate a lot of heat during the day. And I can tell you, it will not be easy for the police officers and all persons involved. Or if the sun is out full steam on first day, it will be a very hot day. But from all other aspects, from what I'm hearing, it's really going to be a fantastic celebration.
Could Tenosha still expect a fireworks display in Castries, or how would that work?
Yes, I think there'll be fireworks everywhere. We're also going to have as our guest of honor the President of Guyana, President Ali, who is going to be coming in on Wednesday, and he will be our guest. There will be a special sitting of Parliament on Wednesday. He is coming in on Tuesday, he's coming in tomorrow, and there'll be a special sitting of Parliament on Wednesday where he will address a joint sitting of Parliament, and he will be meeting with his nationals. he will also attend the celebrations on first day in Soufre. And of course, there are the niceties of the cocktails and everything else that comes with that. But we are delighted to have the President of Guyana. St. Lucia hosts quite a few fellow CARICOM citizens, Guyanese who have served us well in various sectors, teaching, nursing, and other areas. Guyana also hosts quite a lot of St. Lucians, from the 50s, the 60s. So we have a very strong relationship between Guyana and St. Lucia, and the presence of the President of Guyana is a statement of the closeness between our two countries and the bond that we share.
Gentlemen and ladies of the press, lady, only one lady today. Good morning, good afternoon. What can I help you with this morning?
I have a couple of questions.
You have a couple. I like your bow tie.
Thank you very much, sir.
You remind me of a fellow called George Mallet, You're probably too young to know George Mallet.
I know the name, sir.
You know the name. George Mallet was a prolific politician. He never lost his seat. He was a parliamentary rep for Central Castries. He always wore a bow tie. He was a very prolific politician. Not the type, some of the type we have now in the UWP. A very congenial politician. Very nice guy, actually. When I was in opposition, he actually used to talk to me, give me hints as a young politician. His office used to be, I used to have an office in Riverside Road, and he used to live high up the road. And very, very different to what's happening now. Very different.
All right, sir. I'd like to start off positively. When the independence spirit, speak to the importance of fostering national pride. I see a lot of initiatives being put forth by the government. Speak to the importance of that in general.
Well, you see, it's the 45th anniversary of our independence. And it's a time when we really we have to unify the country. This country only has 180,000 people. And whether we like it or not, politicians are temporary. And I always made that point that being a prime minister is a temporary job, and I treat it like a temporary job. So there is no need for us to have all this rank and all this. At least for some time in the year, let us enjoy and love St. Lucia. There is nothing that is better than a country united around something. I was in Grenada for Grenada's 50th anniversary celebrations, and Eric Gary was given the treatment that he deserved as the first Prime Minister of Grenada. Maurice Bishop was also acclaimed. So the time comes in the country's history when you have to forget the selfishness of the person and be a bigger person, be a statesman. I think that's the best time for it. That's the time when you reach out and you enjoy it, because St. Lucia's got many good things happening. When I see the students, when I see what's happening in the youth economy, when I see what's happening with the young people in the country. I went to sports awards on Saturday. 2023 was the best year for sports in St. Lucia up to this last weekend. The senior women's cricket team, they won both the 20 over, the first time in St. Lucia's history. Many things are happening. But if we believe that we can only, for political gain, just look at the negativity we're not going anywhere, because it's a temporary job. It's a temporary job. All of us will be there and leave. But the country remains. You guys remain. So I think it's a time when we're supposed to be unified. We're supposed to be preaching togetherness. We're supposed to be building our nation, at least for independence, if not forever. Should be forever active. But not forever.
Yeah. You recently met with the Russian ambassador to St. Lucia. Could you tell me about the nature of that meeting and what exactly?
Well, the Russian ambassador paid me a courtesy call. The day before, the American ambassador paid me a courtesy call. And the day before, another ambassador, it was a usual call by a new ambassador. There was nothing extraordinary about it. It was the normal call that ambassadors, when they are accredited to the country, they pay that visit. There was nothing extraordinary about that one.
Okay, and no indication of specific discussions?
No general discussions. He offered scholarships because, the government's position of one university per graduates. We maintain the year of he said that Russians could get scholarships to study in Russia. Could happen. The same way the American ambassador spoke about these things. We spoke to the American ambassador about help as far as our national security is concerned. We had good discussions with both ambassadors because St. Lucia has taken a position where nobody can determine our friends. We are friends to the United States. We are friends with Taiwan. This is our position. The St. Lucia government is taking the foreign policy position that we choose our friends, and that's what we do.
No problem.
Mr. Pierre, on the same independence activity, I notice we have a lot of emphasis now on the battery. It's gone out to the communities, people who fought, were undesirable, I didn't say undesirable, but people in the more, rough sections of the community are coming out. How pleased are you to see that this initiative has blossomed and more people getting into it?
Well, the battle relay is another manifestation of how you can get a nation to get into the nation. It's a kind of a battle of continuity. You come from the entire constituents, all the constituencies. They have a day, and the battle carries to get back to country. Again, it's a manifestation of oneness, a manifestation of unity, a manifestation of togetherness. Each constituency have the different ways of doing it. Some constituencies are more elaborate than others, but the fact is, the theme is togetherness, continuity, togetherness, and basically love for country, love for nation.
Last week, I think Ras Ipa spoke about an issue that St. Lucia is having, where there is even though the population is not increasing, it has seen that the number of vendors has dramatically increased from previous years, and he's saying that as of right now, he doesn't want St. Lucia to become a nation of only vendors. And you're saying that out of the people, they're not genuine vendors, they turn to the vending career as a way of just making any type of money they can. So could you speak about that, like the issue? And he said this is an upcoming issue that St. Lucia will have to face eventually. So could you talk about that?
Well, Mr. Iper is a leader of the vendors, so he's best placed to speak about them. What I think is that, whether people want to believe it or not, the economy of the country is expanding. The economy is expanding. I mean, we've had the Chamber of Commerce has said that the businesses did better in 2023. So people see opportunity, and they believe that the best opportunity is vending. I think, I wish it could have been different, but that's how people see it. Because of the opportunity that exists, the economy is expanding. Businesses are making more money. People are making, so people want to exchange. So people want to exchange, people want to buy and sell, which is the fastest way of doing it. But there's got to be some order. There's got to be some discipline in the vending. But we also need to look at our skills. Because I'm saying to you, next year, with the boom in construction, both the private construction sector, and you're going to hear these things in the policy statement. When you talk about the year of infrastructure, people think it's only roads. It's not roads. The infrastructure is buildings, the public sector investment program, not only roads. You're going to see our housing initiatives. You're going to see the government initiatives as far as the public sector is concerned, the House of Justice, the police stations. You're going to see in the private sector, you're going to see hotels. Investments come all the day, every day. Investments come for people wanting to make parts of the country special development areas so they can build and expand. So the economy is expanding, and you will see it for yourself. So people now, but I hope that they could learn some skills instead of vending. I really hope so. But skills take time, and then we have to do something about the construction industry. We've got to find a way, and I've been discussing with my colleagues, particularly the Prime Minister of Barbados, to do something in the construction industry. So whether we could see we can get some people to get short-term training in the construction industry. But the reason why you find that influx of vendors, because people see more opportunity and people see the economy is expanding. But there needs to be some control of this vendor situation. Not to displace them, but to cause some level of control. And I really hope that politicians don't get involved to make the matter seem political. It's not political.
You said opportunity, but I believe I can't speak for Ven on the Wool, but in the boulevard I'm talking about, I know Cicely, I think her name is, she said that she's a president, she said that the vendors are not even seeing much profit there right now. So would you be
I can't get involved in people's opinions. I rather don't get involved in somebody. That's people's opinions. People have opinions about anything. I'm not getting involved in their opinions because some you heard another friend that said how they did very well. So that's opinions. Everybody has an opinion. And that's the beauty of our democracy. You can have an opinion for everything.
Yes. Okay, Prime Minister. Last week you went to the House and there have been some talk about the 2.5%.
I'm glad you said so. Because I really laughed at this. And I found it funny you didn't come in that yet because in fact that was what I was expecting. Because I tell you something. The problem with St. Lucia is people forget their history. People forget what has happened before. You would have believed that is the first time St. Lucia had a PBL, a policy-based loan. You think it's the first time? That never happened before. The last government went into PBLs also, and every PBL has a prerequisite. I want you to listen to it carefully. Every PBL has a prerequisite. Okay? Now, let's look at it logically. Before we jump into the emotion and what sounds good, let's look at it logically. We have a loan from. You must listen to me. Listen. You see, you shouldn't listen to that now. You don't listen to me. You're going to get diverted by the noise when the noise comes out again. Because you see what I'm saying. You get diverted by noise. You understand? Reality and truth. We went to the Caribbean Investment Bank for a loan. Listen to what a loan is. One of the loans is land administration. All the governments in this country, they acquired land from people. They did not pay them. Not our fault, not their fault. Land was acquired and the payments were not made. 6% statutory interest when you owe people for their land. 6%. The government went to the CDB and made a case. It's called a policy-based loan. A policy has to underpin it. The policy was, we owe that money for land acquisition. We want to put it in order. The interest is 6%. So what can you do for us? Gentlemen, it's a policy-based loan, so you have to have what is called prior conditions. Conditions which the last government had to do when they got their policy-based loan. It's not the first time you have policy-based loans in the country. One of the conditions is you have to enhance revenue enhancement. I want you to follow it very slowly. That loan is repayable in 40 years. It starts in 40 years. With a grace period, I think, of five years. So there is no payment on the loan for 5 years. So, first condition, you must have revenue enhancement. Revenue enhancement means you must collect more revenue. The government comes up and listen to me. We need to get revenue for health and security. So we're going to pass a 2.5 levy, which will enhance revenue, but will be used for health and security. Very simple. So the revenue is going to be enhanced, but the 2.5% is going to be used for health and security. There is no secret in that. It's a revenue enhancing measure. But we need, how would you improve the health and security in this country if you don't raise revenue? How would you pay for St. Jude? How would you pay for the House of Justice? How would you pay for the new police stations? You need to raise revenue. How could you have universal health care? You need to raise revenue. So the revenue that we want to raise comes to the health and security levy. So to juxtaposition that against a loan you have to pay in 40 years, starting in 10 years' time, where is the logic? We never said that we would have put $1.50 on gas and put it in the lockbox. We never said so. And so people must remember that. We were straight. We said the money is going to go in the consolidated fund. And that's where we put it. And we came and we said how much money had been collected for the health and security levy up to December or something. So we said so. It was a public statement. The Minister of Finance never said it was going to be in a lockbox. He said it's going to be in the consolidated fund. So all the hue and cry about fooling people, I don't know, where is that coming in? Where is that? I don't understand. Somebody explains to me, where is that coming in? I don't know. It's a revenue enhancing measure that we did. How would you fund health and security? I want to answer a question. How would you fund universal health care? How would you fund what's happening, in fact, as far as St. Jude is concerned? And very soon I'll bring you to see what's happening in St. Jude. You'll see real development in construction in St. Jude. I'll take you on a tour with me if you want to come. Very, very soon, yes.
Okay, we're going to take it slow because I want to understand what you're saying here.
Please. You need to understand.
The health and security levy, as you said, this was not sparked, the idea for this was not sparked by the World Bank's conditions for the policy-based loan. It was not.
No. A revenue enhancing measure, and health and security is a revenue enhancing measure which would be used for health and security. The operative word is revenue enhancement. Okay. That's the operative word.
So they needed you to, as one of the conditions for that policy-based loan, you needed to raise more revenue.
Yes. And we chose the health and security.
So the health and security levy did come about because then of that?
No. We could have done anything else. We could have raised VAT. We could have raised licenses. We could have raised anything. But we wanted to be specific because the issues as related to health and security.
But then is the opposition's argument not valid that in the initial introduction of this this levy, it was said that it was, yes, indeed it is as you said, it is specific for health and for security. But what they're saying is, in addition to that, the whole idea for this, the reason why we even have a health and security levy is because the World Bank,
Caribbean Development Bank.
well, yeah, Caribbean Development Bank required that you raise revenue.
No.
And you chose this.
We chose to enhance revenue by imposing health and security levy to fund health and security. Because how would you fund health and security if you did not raise revenue? How would you do it? And we choose to do it by the health and security levy. But they didn't tell us to have a health and security levy. They asked to enhance revenue. And we choose health and security.
I think we understand that. What I'm saying is that this was the option you chose. Yeah. You chose that option as part of the what was asked of you. Yeah, but not that they themselves said, okay, you know what, you have to do this. I think we understand that. What other revenue raising activity came out of this?
No, I'll tell you what happened. And you see, and I always invite you to come to the Parliament to listen. Here's what else we did. We had a Public Debt Management Act, which right now the government, the Minister of Finance will come to the government and listen to me. Parliament said this is the debt that we raised and why we raised it. That's another condition. And that's a very good question because there were 6 prior policy initiatives we had to take. One, we had to enhance legislation related to public debt management. So the government had to come through cabinet to have a Public Debt Management Act. We had to have approved the annual publication of the medium-term debt strategy starting in 2023, consistent to the policy framework of the Public Debt Management Act. That's the second priority. The third priority, we have approved the public procurement regulations to promote and enforce the new Public Procurement Act. The last government passed the Public Procurement Act as part of a policy-based loan, but they didn't have the I don't use the word, to pass the regulations to it. The other strategy is public finance management regulations to promote and enforce the Public Finance Management Act. The last government passed the Public Finance Management Act. They're the one who passed it, but we put in the regulations. The other one is the National Energy Policy to promote the renewable energy and energy efficiency. And the other one is the government had to pass a climate change bill, which you saw in the parliament yourself. And the other one is the Insolvency Act. Now, here's what's important in the Insolvency Act. The only reason why we have not passed the Insolvency Act is we want to protect homeowners. In that, what you want to see is if someone has their own home, their home where they're raising their family, we want to protect it so a bank can come and seize it if times go bad. That's a principle that the government stands by. But the bankruptcy and insolvency bill already has its first reading. We're looking at how we can refine the homeowners thing so if you go into hard times, the bank can come and seize your house. Just so. That's why we haven't passed it yet. But the first reading is had. And the second one is to improve MSMEs' access to finance and expand the time of collateral for MSMEs. The government approved the Security Interest in Movable Property Act, where you can use other things for assets if you have a small business. And the last government started that actually. And we continued. But they started it because they knew that to get a public PBL, you had to have these pre-existing conditions. So it wasn't only one, there's several.
The tax administration bill is part of this as well.
Now, the last time you and I had a discussion, you were very emotional about the tax enhancement bill, but I'm very happy you've got the facts now and you seem to have understood that. I'm very happy. It's always good to have discussion and things. So when our emotions climb and then we level, we understand the truth, right? Here's what happened to the Income Tax Act. There were 16 laws relating to income tax, 13 or 16. I'll repeat it again because people seem to have forgotten. The last government instructed the Minister of Finance to put these together. In that, you'll have one bill to deal with VAT, all the other taxes. But in the interest of the government's revenue, because why does anybody fool you? The government needs revenue to run a country. The government can't run a country only on taxation. They need revenue. And some revenue comes through taxation. So taxation is an important part of a government's public finance policy. Taxation, none of us like taxes, but it's a serious one. You have to raise revenue for a country. You raise revenue directly or indirectly. Directly for tax, indirectly for VAT, etc. So what the CDB was saying to us, listen to me, you need to get your tax administration done properly. The equipment you have out there is outdated. You must have had issues with your tax. You can't get how much tax you owe. You can't get. So they said, listen to me, we are going to lend you some money to reorganize your inner revenue department by using technology. And we're going to lend that money, and hopefully, when you raise that money, your inner revenue is operating more efficiently, records are easier to get, you will be able to attract more revenue out there that you're not taking because your system's archaic. And as we move more towards indirect taxation, that's going to happen more. Like the health and security levy, like VAT, that's where the world is moving to, indirect taxation, apart from give people their money and let them spend it. So when you move into indirect taxation, your systems need to be better. And that's the other part of the loan. Yes.
Given the fact that, as you said, it was to raise revenue for specifically by health and security, I know the initial date, the end of this levy is in 2025, somewhere in 2025.
Initial?
Yeah. will we see a continuation of
I
this
don't
levy?
know. I know you all like to say I'm not a prophet. I don't know. I don't know.
Okay, understand another issue, original issue. There have been some concern. The president of the Dominican Republic has warned about Haiti on the brink of civil war, and said it could affect the region. Are you concerned about what's happening?
Of course we are, for many reasons. Well, that's why the former Prime Minister St. Lucia is on the eminent persons group to help you. The Haitian situation is very complicated, very, very complicated. I mean, it's historical, it's strategic, it's because Haiti is one of the richest countries in the world in terms of resources, in terms of what the capability of Haiti. Haiti has some of the world's rarest minerals. You understand? But Haiti is very complicated situation. Solutions have been tried many times, but the problem is the Haitian people are clamoring to run their own affairs. But the situation in Haiti is complex, and solutions are not easily found, have not been easily found, and will not be easily found. It's a very complex situation, extremely complex. And yes, I'm concerned for several reasons.
But you think that the CARICOM leaders should be more involved and try to get some kind of solution?
CARICOM leaders are involved. In fact, CARICOM are very involved. But CARICOM leaders are limited in terms of the resources that they can put into Haiti. And I think that's a question in terms of resources.
Okay, another question for me. We've recently with a number of crime. We're talking about crime in St. Lucia. What we have seen is a number of nationals, including Venezuelans and Colombians, being arrested. Some of them, they have been transported. Are there strong links?
But we've always said that we have porous borders. We've always said so. We have porous. Again, resources. You saw the fantastic display by the Marine Police this morning. They need more resources. As things level, the health and security levy will be used to get money to fund the Marines. Resources. You see, the question, gentlemen and ladies, is resources. Everybody has solutions. Nobody says, how do you get the resources to fund these solutions? Resources. That's a big question. We need resources. And we have to resources, human resources, in terms of people's intelligence, people's time, people volunteering, but you also need material resources. And that is what we are working to get, material resources, to add to the human resources that are in place.
Yeah, I thought that's just Saturday. We have up to 14 homicides. One of the big things coming out from the streets and everybody is this influence of gang-related 6 and 7. What can you tell us?
I'll tell you something. I've made that point several times before. There is nobody in their right senses who likes violence. There is nobody who should clamor about violence or repeat the same things because they believe that somebody will get hurt. Some politician will get affected. If there was an easy solution to the situation, I'll be the first person to deal with it. Like with all my colleagues. Every head of government, and we're going to CARICOM next week, their problem is violence. We were in Trinidad year before last. Violence as a public health issue. So there's no easy solution. Anyone who pretends there's an easy solution is basically being disingenuous. There is no easy solution to this problem. You think I want to hear there are murders in this country, young lives being lost? You understand? But the question is, I cannot sit down and pontificate. I have to ask for advice. I have to ask for people to stop making it sensational. And I have to ask for people to be matured in the expressions about the violent situation in this country. That's all I'm asking for. It's not easy. Why you think I would like to have, why even the opposition would like to have 14 murders in this country? They won't like to have it. No one would like to. But the solutions are complex. And the solutions can't be found by just talking and criticizing. It's a complex situation with many, many, many areas of concern. The violent situation in this St. Lucia on the 26th of July, it has been there all the time. Crime has been something there seems to be a cancer that's in all the countries in the region. And that is not any source of comfort when I say in all countries in the region, but it's a fact. And we have to face it and try our best by all means necessary within the law to bring it to.
On the topic of crime, to bring up someone else's opinion again, because I think Dennis Springer spoke about how one of the deterrents would be to, I think the death penalty is still on the books, the reinstatement of that or other forms of police escalation. Could you provide your thoughts on that?
The death penalty is outlawed in Europe. Okay? And many countries, they align their help for you with the death penalty. Many countries. You have to make a decision. And by the way, the death penalty has not been outlawed in St. Lucia. You know that? Mm-hmm. It's in the books. Yes. It has not been outlawed in St. Lucia.
So so you don't think it should be used? Like what's your...
If I say that, the opposition will say, I don't know. Because the opposition want me to be a judge now. I'll tell you what the opposition would like me. They like me to make an outlandish statement. Like, Kenny couldn't do it, I can. That's what they want me to do. Make an outlandish statement. But I'm not going to do that. I am not moved. I'm focused. They want to make outlandish statements. You know how they quote outlandish statements? Like there was a minister who said, leave my boys alone. They love me to say that. They will love me to say that, you know. That's what the opposition wants. They're not going to get it from me. So they can try and try and try. I'm not going to make any outlandish statement about crime. I'm not going to make it. So they can criticize me. They can say, I'm not a police. They can say, that does nothing to me. Absolutely nothing to me. I'm focused. And that's what I'm going to do. So, my good friend, when you speak to them, tell them don't try. They can say whatever they want about me. I am not going to make any outlandish statement about crime. Never. I'm not going to do it. So they can well get off that habit. That's what they want me to do. You know, you see that, you heard what the leader of the union said? Kenny can't stop it, I can. And what happened to him? What happened to him? So he like me to be in that boat, not me. I'm not going that boat at all. So they can try and try and try. You know, I have a thick skin. I am focused. I understand where I came from. I know where I'm going. I have a vision for St. Lucia. I want to know. I know I want to take this country. I want the help of everybody to take this country. So I'm not going to get sidestepped by emotion and misinformation, and that don't bother me. I mean, all the Facebook, all the media images and these things. In fact, I don't even look at them. You know, the late Sir John Compton, he says that he doesn't read the newspapers or listen to the news. And my friend Rick Wayne used to quote him all the time and say to him that John Compton says doesn't listen to the newspapers, listen to the news, right? I'll tell you something. I don't listen to Facebook. I don't watch it. So I don't see United Park and things. So these things are not for me. I don't look at United Park and I don't look at that. People tell me about it. So no matter what they say there or what they do there has nothing to do with me. I'm focused. And the results of my being focused are being seen. I want to consider what's happening in the youth economy. $20 million in there. You saw the exhibition of young people and people in Constitution Park. You saw it. You saw the reports in the Chamber of Commerce. You're going to hear about the hotels, the new hotels going to be built. That's what I'm focused on, not the noise.
Prime Minister, Dr. Kenny Anthony made some statements in the House relating to the management of funds.
What?
Of loans, when we get loans from certain entities, and how outside entities like with the OECS skills project. Yeah, that's what the OECS skills project. Yeah. So, what are your thoughts of?
Doctor,
This is not the first time.
Dr. Kenny Anthony has made it clear that he expresses his opinion, and I welcome his opinion. Dr. Kenny Anthony, I worked with him for 15 years. He was my prime minister. I have great respect for him. I have great respect for his opinion, and his opinion, I value it, and if there's anything I can do based on an expression of his opinion, I will do it. I have absolutely no issues with Dr. Anthony stating his mind. I have absolutely no issues with that. That is what the parliament ought to be. The parliament ought to be a place, not to walk out. It's supposed to be a place where you sit in there and you discuss ideas. And Dr. Anthony has said he's a backbencher. He's expressing ideas. I have absolutely no problem with that. In fact, I welcome the suggestions he makes.
Is there any merit to what he's saying?
Dr. Anthony made a point that these regional bodies should not be handling our loans. I think that there are circumstances where it should be, circumstances where it shouldn't be not. There is no hard and fast rule. Because you see, these things, we would like to have a perfect world, but the world is not perfect. And many times, you want to do whatever you want to do, but the person who is putting the money dictates what you have to do. So you have to make a choice, whether you want to take it on their terms or compromise. But Dr. Anthony's opinion is well on this.
Just one last thing. So on the crime issue, we step up the domestic violence bill, more fines for possession of ammunition, and we've been to the CCJ. Now, in terms of the death penalty, would that be something along the line that to reform? Because it will be important some stage to when you're going to.
But right now, it's still in the books now. In fact, very soon we are going to announce the parliamentary review committee on the Constitution of St. Lucia. That's going to be very soon. So we're going to be looking at it because we started with the deputy speaker, and I hope you saw the value of a deputy speaker last sitting. If like times before, there would have been no sitting because there's no deputy speaker. But I hope you saw the value of a deputy speaker last sitting. The sitting went on the deputy speaker. And these are the little things that distinguish our government. These are the things that people must understand the difference between us. We had the fortitude to say to an elected member, you cannot be a minister, you've got to be deputy speaker. And that is what leadership is all about. That's what it's all about. Leadership is not about clip talk and noise and leadership is about taking decisions. And you see the value of a deputy speaker? The last parliament. Although I must say his baptism his baptism, he had a baptism of fire, to use your words. But I mean that's a value, and I think he handled himself very well. He was calm. And I'll tell you something. I just want to make a point because for journalists, I want to make a point. There is no law in St. Lucia that says if you have one or two members in parliament, you must talk last. There is no law that says so. There is no law. There is absolutely no justification for any man saying because he is only one or two of them, he must choose when to speak. There is no law. In Barbados, up to last month, there was no opposition. In Grenada, up to last year, there was no opposition. Now, the law of the parliament is who catches the speaker's eye. The speaker's eye is the light. So the idea that I am there alone and these guys want me to speak second or fourth, this is absolutely irrelevant. The people of St. Lucia chose to put two guys in the parliament. The people. We can't have democracy two ways. Democracy is one way. We go to the ballot and the first past the post system says how many people go to parliament. The people of St. Lucia said, two of you go into parliament. So when you get there, you are a member of parliament. Your privilege is being able to speak your mind. There is no law that says because there's two of you there, you must speak last or first. When I was leader of the opposition, I spoke immediately after. You understand? So this emotion about you have to walk out, these guys didn't let me speak, an important bill like that, look at what they do in me. This is absolute nonsense.
Two more questions.
Yeah, to finish on a more positive note.
No, let it go.
Prime Minister, what's the protocol for when you leave the country in terms of communicating the public?
No, why the country, there's an announcement goes, once I go on public business, everybody knows.
No, we were not informed of the last two times you left.
What did that do?
You went to the ECCB
That's
head of
one
government
day.
and also to Grenada for the independence celebration.
Yes, there was a press release.
No, there was not. There was not.
Grenada, okay. No. Well, let me apologize for my press. But by the country, there should be a release, yes, there should be. So,
Okay. But who informs the press?
the press secretary will give a release. But anytime I leave, you know there's an acting prime minister, you know that.
I know as an acting prime minister, I want to know the protocol.
The protocol is when I leave, the governor general is written and says the prime minister is leaving. So somebody acts as prime minister, and the press office informs the press. That's it. So let me tell you early, I'll be going to Guyana next Sunday for the heads of government conference. Let me tell you where I'm going. I'll tell you where I'm going. I'm going to Guyana next Sunday for the heads of government conference. I think it's the head of 46th heads of government conference, and then after I go to St. Vincent for the CELAC meeting, Central American which Prime Minister Gonzalez is the chairperson, and I return on the 2nd of March. So I leave on Sunday the 25th, I return the 2nd of March. Okay? Now, I leave some time ago, I'm going to find out. I go to speak to nationals of Canada. I leave either on the 6th or the 8th of March. I come back on the 10th. I spend 1 day in Canada. I've got to come back here to deal with my estimates. I spend 1 day. And my hotel rates is not £2,000, you know. That's not my hotel rate. You're like, now, you want to be positive?
Sure. My question was, in fact, our POV question for today is, what does patriotism mean to you? So I was going to ask it to you right away.
Principal business question?
What does what does patriotism mean to you?
Patriotism. Patriotism means putting your country first. It means, for me, ensuring that the people of this country, as many as possible, if not all, enjoy a decent standard and quality of life. That's what it means to me. It means understanding our rich history, our heritage, respecting our elders. The contribution of our elders must be respected, and also the contribution of people, what they call unsung heroes, people who make it happen. And there are very many, I mean, when I go to the Donato School, I see unsung heroes there. You know, when I see when I go to the St. Lucy's home, and I go to all these children's homes, I see unsung heroes. To me, that is the essence of patriotism, and that's what I admire.
Thank you very much.
So happy independence. See you all, the president of Guyana The president of Guyana is coming. I will see if I can arrange for him to speak to you. So yeah. Bye bye. Have a good day.